Hi, Amy.
Hey, Gabby.
Are you ready to have everybody, all of our members, get to know you a little bit better today?
For sure.
So why don't you start by telling everybody how long you've been with TMC and what your job function is?
I have been with TMC since October 1st, actually, of 2019.
We're coming up on your anniversary. It's been almost a year for
Yeah.
you.
Yes, I can't believe it's been a year almost. And my job title is Education and Events Coordinator. That entails coordinating and handling sort of all of the things that go into the planning and execution of our in-person events. Our TMC Connect platform, which is our educational platform, has really kicked off this year due to the pandemic, which is not ideal, but for us, it really has given us the opportunity to reach out more and really connect with our network. We've had great discussion leaders. People have stepped up within our network to get out there and really keep everybody connected, more so than ever. It's really been great to have these leaders in the industry and in our network step up and get on camera and talk about what's happening in their organizations and make everybody else feel like they're not alone.
And you do an excellent job of doing that. I remind myself every day if I'm ever stressed out, I'm like, at least I don't have Amy's job.
I may say the same thing about you, but
everybody gets to play to their strengths, which is a really fun part about being a part of this team. Let's hop right in. I want to hear about what was your first job ever?
I worked at a hardware store. So I was cashier, but I also got to make keys.
How did you get into the mortgage industry?
I was living in Manhattan at the time, and I was actually an assistant manager for a restaurant on 52nd and 2nd Avenue. And it was all great and fine, but obviously not something I wanted to do as a career. But my best friend, Layla, was a realtor for the Corcoran Group, and she worked in the downtown Soho office. She was friends with their in-house mortgage broker. He was like a two-man shop. And he was looking for an assistant. And so she was like, Amy, you would be amazing at this. You should definitely meet with Richard, and here's your opportunity to do something different. And so I met with Richard. He was extremely intelligent, amazing at mortgages. He taught me everything, and I knew nothing about the mortgage industry. I mean, he really had to start from scratch with me. I worked for him for about 7 years. When I left, I was working, he gave me an entire building, a new construction building, to take all the applications and do all the credit reports and do all the pre-approvals and close all the deals. So, from, I think it was 2003 to 2010, I came a long way. And then I eventually left him to become a loan officer. And so I was a loan officer for a while too.
That's awesome. If you could go back and tell your younger self some advice, what would you tell them?
I think I wish I had a bit more confidence. I think that had I gone into the sales side and stayed on the sales side, I would have been good at it. I think I could have been good at it. But when I decided to do it, it was at a time where there was a lot of negativity surrounding the mortgage industry in general. And that's when I decided, I'm going to be a loan officer. After that, I went into processing, and I became more of an operations person for going on the next 5 to 7 years. It's difficult, but it's definitely lucrative. If you're a very good, successful loan officer, I probably would have stuck it out a little bit longer on that front.
I've been using this question segment for everyone, just being like, I'm just going to take all of these things. I'm just going to hide them in my own little advice cubbyhole to try to remember, since I'm still at the very early in my career. So I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me advice.
You're welcome. Be strong, be confident, and believe in yourself.
Okay, so now for my favorite part, which is the fun random question. I think a good question for you would be, what sport would be the funniest to add a mandatory amount of alcohol?
Not water aerobics, but water, like synchronized swimming.
Yes.
Synchronized swimming.
I can only
that sport?
Just flopping in the water. Right. Running into each other.
I picture people just laughing hysterically and like not being able to stay in sync because it's synchronized swimming.
I think back to like my high school DARE program where they made us like do things with like drunk goggles, and that would already be, since I'm already not that strong of a swimmer. Oh my gosh. Everybody would also have to have mandatory life jackets just to make sure no tragic incidents occur, because
right. And probably some sort of headgear.
No, that was a solid answer. And thank you so much for sharing your career path with us and
welcome.
Some advice. for your younger self. And of course, now we need to get somebody on organizing some drunk synchronized swimming. Maybe that's something we can pull off at our next in-person conference. You're the lady who controls the agenda, so.
I'll choreograph it, and then we could have a meeting at the pool.
And for everybody who is only just, you know, quote unquote, meeting Amy today, she's absolutely stellar. She's the only reason we've been able to pull off anything with our TMC Connect or our upcoming events. And so if you ever get to see her in person at conference, make sure you stop her where she's probably running by you at like a full sprint and be like, hi, I appreciate you, because he deserves it.
I'll say one last thing, and this, I was thinking about this the other day prior to pandemic and right before we went to New Orleans. It was my first conference, and hearing all these names and seeing all these names and not knowing anybody, it's made our network, which seemed so humongous. Now it just feels like this great tiny little community. It really just makes me so much more excited for the next time we can all get together. You know, if we're going to take some positives out of this pandemic, we've been able to connect so much more through TMC Connect and these webinars, even though we haven't been able to see each other. I'm glad that we have that with our company and with our network.
It's really a solid TMC family, which I know that every company ever has always been like, we're a family here, but I've never felt it more than within the scope of this team and within this network that we have. I am so excited. It's going to be an awesome get together. It'll either be Miami or hopefully at some point next year, but everybody stay safe and stay healthy. And Amy, I will talk with you in like 2 minutes.
Sounds good.